Started.
Okay.
Okay, so welcome everyone. We are live. We are in the Training Medical Education Trainers TMET webinar, and I'm Pablo Estrella. I'm the SCOMI director, and let me introduce our amazing facilitators. So here we have Katarina.
Hey, I'm Katarina. I'm SCOMI Regional Assistant for Europe. And I think Lena. Oh, okay.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Lena. I'm SCOMI Development Assistant from IFMSA Egypt.
Awesome.
And hi, I'm Aksa. I'm the Regional Assistant for Asia Pacific region.
And with this short introductions, we're gonna start this webinar.
So, hello, everyone. Back to me. I'm Lena. So let's talk a little bit about what is a TMET. You always hear the word TMET, TMET, TMET. TMET stands for Training Medical Education Trainers. It was created by the SCOMI director of the term 2014, Saint Chidok, at that year. Their aim from that workshop was to create trainers who are well-oriented on medical education topics and skilled enough to deliver these information to others. Over the past 4 years, TMETs have evolved and developed to suit the needs of IFMSA on the national, the regional, international levels up until this moment, and it's still developing, and this is something that we're going to come up to in a couple of minutes. Now, to move on to the next point on the TMET regulations, how do you create a TMET? How do you host one? And I leave that to Aqsa.
All right. About the TMET regulations, first of all, we need to know how to prepare for it and what are the mechanics of the regulation, in which you need to know what are the working hours for the regulations. The working hours are 24 working hours, which include 10 hours per day. So you can divide that into 3 days, 8 hours per day. And the participants need to be not less than 15 and not more than 25. And the trainers need to be not more than 5 and not less than 2. So you have a ratio of 1 trainer to 10 participants. And for that, you need 1 supervisor who can physically be there or not. And next, we have mandatory topics, which are basic training skills, education, teaching and learning, assessment, evaluation, curriculum development, implementation and planning, and professionalism and ethics, which Katarina will be going into in depth. And you need to know more about this, how to prepare. Before the after the TMET, there are some deadlines and the documents that you need to send. And before the TMET, there are some deadlines and documents that you need to send. After the TMET, there are maximum 6 weeks by which the participants need to send TMET post assessment and evaluation, and the TMET coordinator needs to send the TMET report, and the coordinator also needs to send the participants list. And maximum within 6 months after the TMET, send these documents to the developmental assistant, which include training graduation follow-up and the updated participants list. And before the TMET, you have to send in the application form, the TMET description, the budget, the agenda, and the names of the proposed trainers. And for the participants, the pre-assessment form, and by the coordinator, a final list for the participants. That's more like it for the regulations.
Then moving on to how to organize a TMET, as Aksa mentioned, we have mandatory topics, and this includes some very in-depth medical education topics such as evaluation and assessment, education, teaching and learning, and curriculum. Then we have other topics that are not just medical education, but more broad, such as professionalism and ethics, student involvement, and social accountability, and of course, basic training skills. Here, the question, and it's more it's more informal way of approaching than, okay, so here is the regulations and now we're going to implement it, is to ask, why are you organizing a TMET? And what is your goal? Do you want to have, are you hosting a TMET for your NMO? And do you want to have good trainers with knowledge on medical education? Or do you have participants that are in local and national positions and you want them to know how to deliver sessions better? Or you want to assure that you can have worldwide good medical education workshops. So you ask yourself these questions and you ask your team these questions. So why are you hosting? And you come up with an agenda that actually fills the needs that you are feeling. So if we can go to the example of a TMET agenda side, here you will see that the agenda, this is from a GA. The part that says eat bamboo, it's because we're pandas, so it's where when we have lunch. And then you have 3 days of training, as Axel said, like the 8 hours per day. And what we tried to focus on was we had a large group of people coming in from all over the world. So what about just discussing the topics and discussing teaching and learning and evaluation? So very basic medical education, but also give some empowerment, because these people, and was the decision of the trainers, we didn't want that the graduation training would be during the TMET, but actually afterwards, and they would have to ask their NMO and would have to work on the graduation training with their NMO when they went back home. So we wanted to give not only very concrete medical education knowledge, but we also wanted to empower them, and we wanted them to feel comfortable to then go back home and actually have a session and deliver a session, having those basic training skills that enable you for 1 hour, 2 hours, organize a good session for to spread out medical education knowledge, which at a certain point is what we want with TMETs, I think. And I think that's it. I would leave to Lena, I think.
Yeah. So hi again. Now I'm gonna move back to a little bit to the more formal sides of things. One of the main documents, or actually the most important document that you send while making a TMET, is the TMET proposal and the candidature form. For the TMET proposal, this, for example, was just the cover for the one from the pre-AMR. But to make a good TMET proposal, it's mandatory to include the following things: the activity name, the dates, an introduction about the workshop. Why do you need it? Be it in your region, in your NMO, as IFMSA in general, or the list of the acronyms and abbreviations that you use in this document, the purpose of this TMET, the target group, because it differs from one place to the other, general description of the workshop, objectives, and success indicator. What do you want to come out of this TMET, and how are you going to assess whether this TMET was successful or not, which is very, very important. The prerequisites you have, which is usually organized with the OC, the materials, the halls, and all of that. Your general plan for the activity, how you intend to assess it, because usually there is the standard assessment method of the TMET, and that is the graduation trainings after the TMET is finished. But there's also the post-assessment form, and if you have anything extra that you wish to add based on however your NMO works or your region works, you have to include it there. The resources that you have, the budget, and you have the IFMSA template for that, and then of course the coordinator and contact details, because these are the people that SCOME and IT are going to be following up with. And then with the TMET proposal, you have to send a TMET candidature form, which you can find here is the template for it. It has to be signed and stamped by the NMO president that they approve of this TMET. And you have to send them minimum 10 weeks before the TMET so that the IT can work on it and help you develop it further if there's anything that is defective or missing. This is pretty much it for the TMET documents. Now to move on to the next part, and that is the TMET small working group. Yay. So let's start with what is this TMET small working group? During March meeting this year, that was in Egypt, a discussion was raised during SCOME plenary on how we can further improve the TMETs and the quality of the TMETs. This led to a mandate that SCOME should create a small working group this term to work specifically on improving the TMET regulations, the structure, the certification process of TMETs, the number of TMET trainers that deliver the training, the hours of the basic training skills or the soft skills included in TMETs, and the graduation and certification process. This small working group tackles just the TMET regulation. It aims to improve the TMET regulations, but not any other SCOME workshop. Its main focus is the TMET. Now, when this small working group was created, it had a certain set of objectives in mind, and that included reviewing the current regulations of the TMET and certification, to gather inputs from anyone else who's involved in the TMET process, the TMET trainers, the capacity building, the SCOME IT. There's the small working group on capacity building IOGs, the active members, motivated members, SCOME sessions during regional meeting. All these ideas should be gathered together to work on developing the TMET regulations. Another objective was to share an online space for this discussion of this small working group, aka the call for inputs, and to formulate a new improved TMET structure and regulation based on all the inputs that we collected, with the cooperation, of course, of the CB division and SCOME IT. Now, the timeline started on the 20th of March, but this is when we opened the call for the participants, which ended on the 31st of March. And by the 8th of April, the small working group selection was done and announced, and then we started working. Now, so far, the small working group have been thoroughly analyzing the TMET regulations. They've created the call for inputs, which have been shared multiple times on our server and our Facebook group. And right now, they are reviewing the inputs to create the draft accordingly. The draft is almost done, so expect it soon. And this pretty much covers everything regarding the TMET small working group. I would leave you to the next part about the future upcoming TMETs with Pablo.
Great, thank you, Lina. So yes, it's important to know that so far we have had a lot of TMETs around the world, almost in every region, but the ones that are upcoming are we have in Chile, we have in Burkina Faso, we have in Portugal, we have in Jordan, we will have in Turkey, in Serbia. And it's really important for you to know that the SCOME IT have prepared this map for you. Basically, there's a link. You will also be able to find this this map on the Facebook group and the email server. And you can find also other related medical education workshops that are going to happen or that happened. So this one's really good for you to give a track of what have we done so far with the different countries in the capacity building part of SCOME. And also, this is we're trying to promote that more NMOs are able to host a medical education workshop in their own country, because as it has been said before, it's a great way to give capacity to our members in a local level, which means that you don't need to participate in a pre-GA workshop, in a pre-RM workshop, but you can host this in an own local sub-regional training, for example, an SRT. So as you've seen, TMETs have been here almost for 4 years. Now we're trying to improve all the evaluation, the assessment. So for example, now we have a pre and post assessment that was mentioned by AXA. And this one also helped us to measure the impact that we have with this workshop intervention. As well, just to highlight the work of the small working group on TMET, they are doing an amazing job to trying to improve how TMETs are being done worldwide. So expect the outcomes really soon, and also we will be waiting for all your input and suggestions for this. So now will be time for questions. I believe we already have some, in YouTube. Give me a second. All right. So we have from Mina a question: why not to be 4 days training and a graduation training in the last day? So the problem with making a 4 days workshop is basically that the structure that SRTs mostly have and pre-GA workshops is 3 days, which means that if we want to extend one extra day, that will be a headache for the organizing committees, having to have, for example, an extra day before the event starts, and also for SRTs, because normally the graduation trainings are done locally with inviting new members, and that implies much more time, much more resources than having just 3 days workshop. So of course, this is also up to each of the organizing committees. So for example, if you are doing a sub-regional training and you want to make it 4 days, so on the last day are graduation trainings, it is possible. We recommend to be 3 days special because that's the structure that we have so far. And your second question, if it's mandatory that participants are at least 15. So in our current regulations updated on the March meeting 18, our minimum number of participants is 8 and the maximum is 20. This might be changed in the next General Assembly according to the suggestions and the proposal from the small working group, but so far minimum is 8 and the maximum recommended it can be 20. But as well, if you have more participants, it should be tell to the SCOMI director, in this case to me, and we have to approve that. I believe there's no other questions. Just as last message, you have the support of all the international teams. So you have one RA, one regional assistant per region. So contact them if you are planning to host one. Also contact Lina. She's the master of workshops here in SCOMI. So please also contact her for any information, as well Mateo, our general assistant. And in any case, I'm also here to help. I don't know if you would like to give any other messages, Kata, Axa, or Lina.
Yeah, just one thing, and even to complement what you said to Mina, I think that the regulations are our guiding structure for how we want TMETs and how we think that TMETs will be done in a better form in terms of the OC logistic and in terms of the content that we are going to provide. However, it's still not truly binding, as you can propose something different to the SCOMI director for its approval. So I think Pablo just mentioned this, but I think that it was necessary to phrase it, because if you think that there's a different way that you can actually approach things, we're clearly open to that, and I think that's a very interesting and valid point. And I think in terms of final conclusions about TMETs, I think it's, as I said, an amazing tool to empower our members and actually get more and more people engaged and interested in medical education. And I think as it is most of the core of what we're doing, it's certainly worthwhile. And I think that's it from me.
I'd like to add one more thing, just following up on what Katarina said. The reason of sending this candidature form and the details of the proposal are not just that we want a record from you, but it is for this committee and the IT to help you so that we assure the quality of your training sessions and the production of new TMET trainers is up to the mark so that we meet the international standards. That's it.
Just to sum up with what everyone said, the regulations are they're very flexible to whatever different aspect that you have in mind regarding a TMET that's going to be national or regional. So you can customize it to something up to you. They're not that rigid or strict. So if that's what's stopping you as a national officer or national officer assistant or just a TMET enthusiast from hosting one, I really suggest that you just read the regulations and you can do it. If your NMO needs it, just go for it. That's all.
Thank you so much, Lina. Just to cover this point, exactly as what it has been said, regulations are there for helping you to create one. We have some mandatory topics, but of course you can include some extra ones. And the aim of this is to assure quality of workshops worldwide. So we can be sure that a trainer in Ecuador is as qualified as a trainer from Egypt. So basically, that's why regulations exist. And just to cover the last question from Mahak, if we can explain a little bit more about other medical education workshops that are not TMETs. So basically, SCOMI works with TMET, but is not limited to TMET. So for example, this year we started the AMET, where you can also check the webinar, the AMET webinar that happened some weeks ago. We also had Young Advocates in Global Health Workforce. That actually was a workshop facilitated by Katarina in Yurichimi and our other members from the IT. And we also have social accountability workshop that it's going to happen in the next GA. So basically, as you see, TMETs are our main tools for workshop and capacity building, but are not the only ones. Whenever we find or we feel that, or actually we realize there's a lack or a specific problem in a region, we try to always also go with the capacity building workshop to try to cover that. So for example, that was the case in Yurichimi. And social accountability, for example, is also a topic that now it's really important worldwide. We as IFMSA have worked a lot on it. Will be now one global priority. So that's why we are also focusing on the capacity building workshop that is not just TMET. I hope that answered your question, Mahak. And with this, we will conclude this webinar. Thank you so much for attending. And remember that we are here to help you. And we are really hoping that we can see more TMET proposals from you, from your countries, so we can make this TMET family even bigger. Thank you so much and hope to see you soon.